Good morning, my name is Jason Pino. I'm the director of Restoring Hope Ministries. What we do is we are an emergency shelter and outreach to kids who are experiencing homelessness or are at risk of homelessness in Ottawa. We specifically work with the age group of 15 up to 24 years old. We had 10 youth who stayed over with us last night. One of those youth had a severe mental health problem. He isn't able to maintain his own housing, so he sleeps on the street. 3 of the youth were here for the very first time. They found themselves in Ottawa with nowhere to go, and some of the other youth told them about us, and so they were able to find a safe place to sleep last night. 2 of those youth were under the age of 16 years old, so you can imagine how many of these kids are extremely vulnerable. They have no place to live. They've been abandoned by sometimes parents or other responsible adults, and so nobody's watching out for them. And what happens if these kids don't have a safe place to sleep, then they become very vulnerable to dangerous situations like sleeping in a park or in a parking garage, or even worse, for some of the girls, very vulnerable to human trafficking, being pulled into the drug trade. I would say a majority of the kids that we're working with are all struggling with substance abuse, all dealing with mental health problems, already dealing with alcoholism and heroin addiction. We offer them a free meal, clothing, a safe place to sleep, and even more importantly, our volunteers and our staff reach out to these kids to provide that safe, loving, compassionate adults in their lives who's looking out for them. We take a lot of time to talk to the kids while they're here, build relationships with them, get to know them. Right now, it's all about making these kids understand how valuable they are, how important they are to God and to us as the city of Ottawa. They feel very rejected, they feel very left out and alone, and this is our opportunity to show them how much value they really do have and how much we're willing to love them and take care of them. When they feel important, they start to hope again, and when they have hope, then they're more likely to change the difficult circumstances in their life. Even though there are some other resources available in this city, I wanted these kids to experience what it was like to have a Christ-centered answer to the issues that they were going through. I wanted them to feel like Jesus cared about their drug addiction, that Jesus cared about their homelessness, that Jesus cared about their depression or their mental health problems. And so from the very beginning, wanted the church to be extremely involved in everything that we do. The very first step was we didn't have a building. We couldn't afford to buy a building. And so our idea was to go to a local church and ask them if we could use their space as an emergency shelter. And so they allow us to come here at night, and they allow us to then pull out all of our supplies and turn this church building into an emergency shelter for the youth. 90% of our volunteers, they are active members of local churches in this community. They are supplying us with meals every night. They are supplying us with clothing that we need. They're even more importantly supplying us with the volunteers and the staff that we need. A lot of church volunteers are cooking the meals and bringing them here and dropping them off. It's a great way for small groups to get involved. I've talked to a lot of small group leaders who say once a month their small group gets together and they spend the whole evening just cooking up a meal and then bringing it to us, and that's one of the ways that they outreach to the city. Usually around holidays, a lot of small groups and churches will donate dinners to us, collect gift baskets for Christmas and Thanksgiving. It gives us a chance to make the holidays really special for these kids. There's really an endless amount of ways that churches can get involved and help us out. So one of the reasons we're extremely excited to be working with Connect Care Ottawa is how do we get the word out to as many churches and church members as possible about the work that we do here. We don't get any support from the government or from the province. Everything we do is supported by individuals and by churches. The more churches that understand what we do, the more people may want to help us and get involved. Another area that we are starting is working with parents now, families and people who have kids who are starting down this road and are not sure what to do or who to talk to. We want to connect with those families. We want to connect with those kids. We want to be able to talk to youth groups about the dangers of drug addiction and mental health. If there's a church that has a family come to them and they're struggling with these issues and they're not sure what to do, we want to be able to go to those churches and help them. This way, if a church wants to get in touch with Connect Care and ask them what kind of services are available and what kind of resources are out there in the city that are Christ-centered, we believe that if we're connected with Connect Care, then we'll help even more people in our city than we're able to right now.